Hello, 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 folks. Welcome back to You Are Not Broken, the Phases of Healing podcast. I'm loving that we're unifying here. I know that I have wanted to just be in one message, which is you are not broken, and we're here to help you with a toolbox and enter the phases of healing. So let's get to it. We don't need to mess around with introductions because we are on a mission. The content today and the title of the episode is What's the Deal? Is it me? And how we all need to know the pillars of emotional maturity. It's hard to honor your true self in relationships and build mutually satisfying connection. No one's perfect, but still, maturity is attractive. So here it is. What's the deal? Is it me? If you've ever found yourself asking, is it me, after a conflict, breakup, difficult family interaction, or painful misunderstanding, you are not alone. Most of us have asked that question at some point. Sometimes it comes from healthy self reflection. Sometimes it comes from years of carrying responsibility that never was ours to begin with. The challenge is that many of us were taught how to perform, achieve, accommodate, survive, and succeed, but very few of us were taught what emotional maturity actually looks like. Emotional maturity is not something automatically bestowed upon us when we become adults. It's not measured by age, career success, home ownership, marriage, parenting, or financial stability. In fact, some emotionally sensitive children begin developing capacities for empathy, awareness, and reflection long before the adults around them. None of us had perfect parents because parents are human too. When caregivers are unable to consistently provide emotional responsiveness, children naturally adapt. These adaptations often become roles, beliefs, and patterns we carry into adulthood. I am in my work helping people navigate the phases of healing. I repeatedly see individuals struggling not because they're broken, but because they are still living inside roles they learned long ago. Healing often begins when we become willing to examine those roles and learn what emotional maturity actually requires. I always include the links here, guys, to enter the Phase of Healing website or go directly to the healing program so you can check that out. We all need to know the pillars of emotional maturity, so I'm going to give it to you straight. Pillar one, freedom from roles. Many of us grew up believing our value came from fulfilling a role. Perhaps you became the helper, the peacemaker, the achiever, the caretaker, the responsible one, the invisible one, the strong one. Or you may have shifted around one or more of these roles. These roles may have helped us survive our family systems, but they can limit us as adults. So a person trapped in a role of a helper may struggle to receive support. A person trapped in perfectionism may struggle to rest. Someone raised to keep the peace may find it difficult to express disappointment, anger, or hurt. Emotional maturity requires the freedom to become more than a role. It allows us to be human, complex, changing, and imperfect. Pillar two, emotional authenticity. Many of us were taught to manage appearances before learning to understand feelings. A child who is told to smile when sad may learn that emotions are inconvenient. A child prays only when they recover quickly from distress may learn that emotional needs should be hidden. A child who is constantly corrected may begin valuing perfection over authenticity. Over time, we may become skilled at functioning while disconnected from ourselves. We show up and perform. We smile and keep going. Yet underneath, sadness, fear, loneliness, or resentment remain unacknowledged. Emotional maturity is not the absence of emotion, it is the ability to acknowledge what is true within us. So, a mature person can say, I'm hurt, I'm disappointed, I'm overwhelmed, I need more time, all without feeling weak, dramatic, selfish, or ashamed. When people learn that their emotions do not have to be perfect to be valid, a profound freedom occurs. Feelings are not always facts, but they are important information. And that's definitely what I'm helping people with in the healing program. Feelings are important information, and they're mature to have. Now, pillar 3, reflection over defensiveness. One of the strongest indicators of emotional maturity is the ability to reflect. When someone shares an emotional experience with us, maturity allows us to become curious rather than immediately defensive. Instead of saying that's not true, or you're too sensitive, or you're remembering it wrong, we become capable of asking, help me understand what that was like for you. Reflection is difficult because it often requires tolerating discomfort. It asks us to consider that another person's experience might hold valuable information, even when it differs from our intentions. Many of us grew up around adults who were unable to reflect. They defended, avoided, minimized, justified. As adults, we can unintentionally recreate those same patterns. Alternatively, we can be in patterns with others that brace for immaturity and therefore stifle our own. Emotional maturity asks something different of us. It asks us to become students of our impact, not merely defenders of our intentions. Now, pillar 4, respect for boundaries. Many people struggle with boundaries because they confuse them with rejection. In reality, healthy boundaries are one of the clearest signs of emotional maturity. Mature people understand that love and limits can coexist. Sometimes relationships need repair. Sometimes they need space. Sometimes they require difficult conversations. And sometimes, despite genuine effort, temporary distance is necessary. You may find yourself needing to suspend contact with someone because repeated interactions leave you feeling unseen, dismissed, drained, or unsafe. That does not automatically make you cruel. It does not make you selfish, and it does not make you crazy. When communication has occurred, perspectives have been considered, and genuine effort has been made, creating space can become an act of self-respect rather than punishment. Many of us were conditioned to tolerate relationships that lacked mutual reflection because they felt familiar. Emotional maturity gives us permission to question what is familiar and choose what is healthy instead. And pillar 5, reciprocity. Healthy relationships cannot be maintained by one person carrying all of the emotional labor. Maturity involves reciprocity. Interest moves in both directions. Care moves in both directions. Effort moves in both directions. This means that we move beyond texting emotion and recognize that the phone rings both ways, that we recognize questions are asked both ways and repair is initiated both ways. When reciprocity is absent, many people exhaust themselves trying harder, giving more, explaining better, and accommodating further. They find themselves asking, what's the deal? Is it me? Sometimes there are areas for self-reflection. Sometimes there are things to repair, but sometimes we are simply recognizing a relationship that lacks mutuality. Emotional maturity means being willing to tell the difference. So, real question here. Perhaps one of the greatest signs of emotional maturity is that we stop asking, is it me, as an act of self-blame, and begin asking it as an act of curiosity. We become willing to examine ourselves honestly while also recognizing that not every relationship problem is ours to carry. Emotional maturity is not perfection. It is the ongoing practice of becoming more honest, reflective, boundaried, authentic, and human. And for many of us, that journey begins when we stop trying to become perfect and start becoming real. The healing program I offer is also a pathway to embodying your growth through feeling your own maturity rise inside. It is finally a place where you don't waste time thinking about your ex or what your partner should change, what your mother needs to look at, or how anyone else works inside their attachment style. It's alignment with your growing maturity, not to rise above others, but to make more sense to yourself. So I have these links multiple times for when you're ready. I do want to say a note about this space. And first, I just want to say this: you are not broken. And I am glad you're here because you are not broken. The Phases of Healing is a special place, not because I find what I create special, but because it was created from a calling that emerged after 2 decades of sitting with people who entrusted me with their stories. Through them and through my own journey, I came to recognize something powerful. There is far more that unites us in our struggle than separates us. So if you are here, something is happening inside of you. I don't mean that something easy is happening. I mean something important is happening. An invitation is building, and some part of you is trying to listen. Because of that, I encourage you not to engage with this space passively. Reflect on what you read. Bring it into therapy, share it with a partner, comment, disagree, get curious, allow it to become part of your healing process. There are many reasons I invite you to do this, but one of the primary reasons is simple. I will feel it. The more engaged and invested you are, the more clearly I can listen for where people are in their healing and continue creating from that place. Many people who know me have heard me say with warmth and kindness, come back when you're ready. Not because the door is closed, but because healing requires willingness. Over the years, I have learned how to keep an open door in my heart, in my mind, and in the reprocessing space that exists between human beings trying to heal. I know that openness can close. I also know it can reopen through intention. So I invite you to be ready, be present, be engaged. The content here will get better because of it. The conversation will get better because of it. And the love I have for your healing journey will deepen because I will feel your investment too. Don't be surprised if you notice that this space is built around something that resembles a partnership. There is no hierarchy. I am not a guru or a fixer. This is a partnership if you want one. It is an equal investment in healing. And if you're here, perhaps you're already beginning. Feel free to tell me more about the topics you want to see to help you become more ready for a full healing journey. I will take your messages gladly. Heal on, everyone.